back again to yet another session on analysis of a insurance stock. So SBI Life Insurance, as you know, is a well-known life insurance company in India. So again, in the last session number 40 and 41, we discussed in detail about what is an insurance business, what is a float, how the insurance works, how they generate profit out of the premiums collected, how they settle the claims, how they increase the profit and increase the book value by adding the profits generated from the premium collected, which is nothing but the float, which is added into the surplus and reserve of the company. So all these things we discussed in those sessions. Now in this session, the analysis is mainly concentrated directly on the stock SBI Life Insurance. So in this session, the analysis is completely concentrated on particular company, which is the SBI Life Insurance. Again, you would be thinking, why SBI Life Insurance? Why not HDFC Life Insurance or even ICICI Prudential or many other companies which are available in the market? So I have done a lot of research on various insurance companies, and because of some particular reason, say you call it a undervaluation or relatively cheaper stock, or the performance of the company in past few years, or what is expected to happen in the coming years, or the possible restructuring happened in this company. All these things, based on these parameters, I have selected this stock. And if you ask me, in the insurance sector, at least in India, in insurance sector, the companies which are listed in the stock market, SBI Life Insurance is one of my favorite. Now in this session, I will walk you through all the aspects of why I chose this stock and how this stock is worth holding for a longer period for a decent return. Since we have already discussed all the fundamentals or the business models of the insurance company, in this session I'll directly get into the analytics of the company. In this session, you will get to know yet another analytical parameters we should look at while analyzing an insurance company. And unlike a bank business or any other businesses like steel manufacturing or FMCG aviation businesses, we already discussed that insurance business operates completely, and their profit generation and their business model is completely different. So in the same way, parameters to monitor and the ratios to look for in insurance companies somewhat different from a normal company analysis. So that I'll explain in this session. So a brief about SBI Life Insurance. It was incorporated in March 2001, and SBI Life Insurance is a joint venture between State Bank of India, which you already know, the largest state-owned banking and financial service company in India, with BNP Paribas Cardiff. BNP Paribas Cardiff is a French multinational, actually a specialist in personal insurance in more than 33 countries, and also BNP Paribas has got its financial services as well. So BNP Paribas Cardiff is mainly concentrated in the insurance sector. So they have a joint venture. So SBI Life Insurance have a SBI Life Insurance. So State Bank of India SBI has got a joint venture with BNP Paribas Cardiff, as a result of which SBI Life Insurance is incorporated in March 2001. So as we again explained in the earlier two sessions, an insurance company need to have a gestation period to generate sizable float and investment profile, so that the profits generated out of that floats improves the profit margin, and also increases the size of the company. As per me, already SBI has got more than 15-20 years of experience in the sector, similar to some other insurance companies or its peers like HDFC Life or even ICICI Prudential. So SBI Life Insurance is in the phase of incremental profit generation. So those things we'll discuss in the upcoming slides. So here you can see the first curve is a net premium earned. So what I have done, I have gone to this SBI Life Insurance website. So there in the investor session, you will get to download all the annual reports of SBI Life Insurance. Actually, in the site, the annual reports from 2007 only is available. So that is why the curve is ending at 2007. So the annual reports from 2001 to 2007, that is since its inception, is not actually available. But still fairly 2007 to 2021 is a very wide range of analysis which is available, which is good enough for us to understand the company. So normally in other stocks I normally analyze not more than 10 years, but here to understand incomplete and even the fluctuations in the market, I have taken a longer duration, that is from 2007 to 2021. So net premium earned for SBI Life Insurance. So whatever premium they have collected from the various policy holders, that is nothing but the net premium earned. So you can see in early 2007 the premium collected was very less. So this premium collected is actually in crores. So this was below 5,000 crores. Then as the year progressed, the collection has gone as high as 50,000 crore in 2021. So that is how this net premium earned for SBI Life Insurance has grown over the years. So this again shows a healthy growth. Also depicts the efficiency of the business. Now in the next slide you can see that this is the transfer to shareholders account. So as we mentioned in the earlier session, there is in the P&L statement there are two accounts. One is revenue account and the other is the P&L statement or the income statement for the shareholders. So whatever is earned from premium and all the expenses and running the businesses are taken out from the premium collected, so including the bonus paid out to the policy holders, the surplus amount is actually transferred to the shareholders account. So that is what is available for the shareholders or we investors as a profit. And there are other deductions in that which we already discussed in the earlier session. So if you don't recall that, I suggest you to again go back and have a look there and come back so that your understanding is crystal clear. So what is transferred to shareholders accounts from policy holders account is still increasing over the years. So you can see 2011, 2017, 2021. So it has increased over the years. So again, this shows a very healthy growth over the years. There has been slight fluctuations in the curve. So this cannot be actually that much linear. So there will be up and downs in various years. But overall, the curve has always been going up. Now next important thing, the insurance float, which you are very well aware, and I have detailed it out about the concept of insurance float and how to calculate that in my earlier sessions 40 and 41. So there in that session I had projected you something like 5 to 6 years, but here I have taken a wider years, that is from 2007 to 2021. So you can see a constant growth over this period. So that effectively shows that the SBI Life Insurance company has been able to generate or create or bring in more and more policy holders collect more premium, and those premiums has been effectively invested in various bonds or stocks or securities and generate profit over the years. So this float has been always been increasing, so that is a very strong or very healthy sign of a growing business. So here again the value is in crores, so you can see the float has almost been in the range of 1,90,000 crore. So earnings per share is nothing but the profit, basically the profit after tax divided by the number of shares outstanding. So per share profit, it is nothing but the earnings per share. So earnings per share also from 2007 to 2021 has been a constant growth, an exponential growth. And you can see here, you can see in the curve, in 2009 there has been a dip. Otherwise, the entire profit growth or earnings per share has been a constant or almost a linear curve. So you would be wondering why or what happened in 2009. So I'll come to that. So before that, profit after tax. So we told in the earlier slide, this is earnings per share. Similarly, if you see the curve for profit after tax is also similar because it is nothing but earnings per share and PAT is the same. Only thing is that the EPS is per share and profit after tax is for the whole business. So the curve profile would be same in both the cases. Similarly, you can see in 2009 there has been a dip. So why that dip? So this is an extract from 2009 annual report. So in the annual report, the company has written all the investment discretion or what all things has happened in that year. So one important thing to note here is that I'll read it out. Financial year 2009 was one of the most volatile years of financial markets. Sensex had a second biggest fall in its history, dropping by 38% in the financial year 2008 to 2009. The fall was primarily caused by bankruptcy or near bankruptcy of several global financial institutions. The resulting turmoil in global financial market led withdrawal of funds from all risky asset classes and fall in market values of all asset classes except government bonds. Funds have performed well considering the extremely challenging market condition. The returns of the year on all unit-linked funds, that is ULIPs, gross of charges, are better than the benchmark. So still they are telling that the benchmark, compared to benchmark, their funds has been performing. Funds as in they have they had invested in bonds and securities. At that times the investment was more in bonds. If you recall, this 2009 has been a global crisis for housing bubble. At that time there was the Lehman crisis in US. So that has affected the entire global financial sector, even the economy as well. So the market has dipped 38%, but still SBI Life Insurance has been able to sustain those market dips as well. So what happens is that as they are invested their float in various securities, the securities returns are fairly market dependent. So if the market goes down, obviously the funds doesn't perform at least in that year. So obviously the profit generation or the PAT and the EPS would go low in that year. But that is momentarily, then the market recovered, then all the funds regained the momentum and again the profit generation started. And also such crisis periods, there will not be much of a policy generation because people will be panic. So people will be in panic. So they doesn't have much of money to invest in these instruments because many would have lost their job. So their basic needs only is what they will be concentrating on. So this is out of curiosity, I just projected why there was a dip in 2009. Now again, coming to reserves and surplus. So this reserve and surplus we have discussed in earlier session on insurance. So that also, which is this actually reserve and surplus, as we discussed, is adding to the directly adding to the book value of the company. So that also has been a very linear and steady growth from 2007 to 2021. So that also shows a very healthy growth as far as the stock is concerned. Return on equity is another parameter. Return on equity is nothing but the earnings per share to the book value, or otherwise the profit after tax, which is the complete profit after the tax to its book value or the net worth of the company. Return on equity, again, if you see in 2009, as we told, there was a dip because of the housing bubble. So because of the dip in the profit or the profit generated by the company, obviously there was a dip. After that, it has been a steady growth. And in the years after say 2012 to 2021, there has been a small dip in the return on equity, but that is not a big dip, so nothing to worry on that. But still it is fairly above 15%. In 2021, because of some pandemic and other things, there has been a slight dip. Still that value is above 12%, which is a healthy ROE. Compared to HDFC, the ROE for SBI Life Insurance is slightly less, but we should not look at a single parameter, as we discussed in the earlier sessions also. You should look at the wholesome view. Now, I am not analyzing the ROC for the company because ROC is, like we discussed in the earlier session on ROC, return on capital employed. It is only relevant if the company is having a debt and they are servicing their profit from their debt. So here they are not using a debt because the company is basically debt free. So if it is debt free, I don't find a need of analyzing the ROCE, but only a ROE analysis would suffice. So again, ROE is pretty good or healthy. So again, a positive sign. Now earlier in the last session, we had discussed that some other profitability ratios like loss ratio, expense ratio, and a combination of both loss ratio and expense ratio is nothing but the combined ratio has to be analyzed. So here I have drawn curves for loss ratio and the expense ratio. So loss ratio again is the percentage of insurers premium paid out as claim. So expense ratio is the percentage of premiums that an insurer spends to run its business. So expense ratio, you can see again it's fairly good. Yes, 2009-10 around there has been a dip, and also the loss ratio is also good. So again the curve is from 2007 to 2021. Now book value growth. So net worth of the company has grown constantly from 2007 to 2021. Again a very strong or good positive sign for a much profitable or steady growth company. So normally we discussed earlier also for companies for finding out its prima facie undervaluation, we see the price to book value. So this is the book value per share. So we take the price of various years and divide it by the book value per share, then you will get the price to book value. So price to book value, if it is lower, say if it is below 1 or even below 2, it is considered undervalued because the price at which the market is valuing the stock is below its actual net worth. So that is considered as a undervaluation. But here, if you see in life insurance companies or insurance companies, you should not actually look at the price to book value. I would say you should look at something called price to embedded value. So what is embedded value? Embedded value is only specific for an insurance company. So embedded value represents at the valuation date an estimate of asset value and the stock of the insurance company. Basically, it is taken to be the sum of shareholders' net assets and the value of business in force at the valuation date. Value of in force business at the valuation date is the present value of future profits expected to emerge from policies already written. Again, I repeat, the value of in force business at the valuation date or the current date is the present value of future profits expected to emerge from policies already written. So these are the future profits which are supposed to generate from the policies already written, in the sense the policies for which already the policy holders had paid the insurance company the premium and they have collected the premium, and they would be investing that in various financial instruments or investment thesis, and they will generate a profit in the future date. So that thing is projected or calculated right now, and that value is computed. So again, the profit generated out of the float, I would say. So that value plus the shareholders net asset, which is the net worth, which is nothing but the book value. These both additions will give you the actual embedded value. So you can see that price to book value, in that book value you are adding some more addition, which is the profit generated from the float, the expected profit which will be generated from the float. So that one more addition comes in the denominator, means the overall price to book value will reduce. So embedded value is nothing but the shareholders net assets plus the value of business in force at the valuation date. Don't worry, going forward we will further decode the embedded value with various examples for the SBI Life Insurance Company. So embedded value I have plotted from 2016 to 2021. So embedded value is something you will get in the insurance company's annual report, because it is very difficult for you to extrapolate the values and calculate the embedded value by your own. Only thing is that you have to look at how the company has derived that embedded value, whose breakup is normally given in the annual report, and see whether the derived embedded value is logically correct. You cannot actually calculate that, as I mentioned, because the calculation is slightly complicated and predictions of that float which is generating the profit in future can only be derived by the company itself, and you cannot do that. So go with what company is giving as embedded value in the annual report and analyze that, and take that value divided by shares outstanding, so you will get the embedded value per share, and that value which is already having book value in that, divide price of the stock or price of the insurance company by that embedded value to get the price to embedded value ratio. So again, you can see embedded value has increased over the years. So this is the embedded value per share. So this is around 330, 333, 340. So again, it's a strong value, embedded value. Again, it's a large value. So if you take the market price to embedded value, that ratio you will get. SBI today, if you see, it's something around 1200 rupees. Divide by the embedded value of say 335, you will get a price to embedded value of 3.5 or 3.6. So that is not a overvaluation, it is fairly rightly priced. I will not say it is undervalued, but it is not overvalued as well. Now this is again some extracts from the annual report of SBI Life. So Indian embedded value. So embedded value is otherwise called Indian embedded value as well, IEV. So consolidated value of all life insurance business written by the company since inception and in force as on valuation date, including labs business which have potential of getting revived. So that is the embedded value. So you can see they have given the value in billions. Similar thing 165, 190, 224, 262 and 333. So what I have done is that I have divided this value by shares outstanding and converted that to rupees. So that is what you saw in the previous slide. So MCEV methodology and approach. So market consistent embedded value MCEV, that is again embedded value only. So that is nothing but the adjusted net worth plus the value of in force VIF. So embedded value in the life insurance context is a realistic measure of shareholders' interest in covered business of the company. The calculation of embedded value of all existing business and the new business value of the new business has been carried out using market consistent embedded value MCEV approach. The approach differs from traditional approach in the manner in which allowance is made for the risk in the covered business. In the MCEV approach, explicit allowance is made for each risk and business, while in the traditional approach, such allowance is made through an increase in risk discount rate. So that is the difference. So again, I will decode it, don't worry. So MCV methodology and approach. So whatever we saw in the last slide, so adjusted net worth and value of in force. So we'll again split that. So first is adjusted net worth. So what is adjusted net worth? This is the market value of the assets attributable to shareholders in excess of liabilities. This is nothing but the book value. Now the other factor we discussed, that is value of in force VIF. So that we again decoded in the last slides. So this is the present value of distributable future profits after tax arising from the business attributable to the shareholders. So again, how to derive the VIF is detailed out in this session. So I will not go in depth in that. You can browse through my slides in this video, and if you are interested, you can find out the VIF. So how to find out VIF is present value of future profits. They call it as PVFP minus the time value of financial options and guarantees TVFOG minus frictional cost of required capital FCRC minus cost of non-hedgeable risk, which is CNHR. That is why I told you the calculation of value of in force is difficult. So it is better you directly take the embedded value from the annual report. But still, if you are curious to know this, you can go through my video, understand the logic behind or how to calculate the embedded value. So again, a note is that results stated above are not audited nor have been subjected to any external review. They are based on assumption and estimates of the internal management of the company. So that is a disclaimer by SBI Life Insurance Company, because those are all predicted values. So what is PVF? All abbreviations are listed here. So now decoding each of the parameters in that equation of embedded value. So I will not take much of your time explaining this. So you can, if you are interested based on your personal interest, you can go through this. So I have mentioned all the factors which are involved in the calculation of the embedded value. Frictional cost of required capital is another factor. Cost of residual non-hedgeable risk. So all those things, if you see PV, FP, TV, FOG, FCRC, CR, HNR, all those things, and adjusted net worth is here. So all these things, that equation we apply, we'll get the embedded value. So 13,000 crore is the embedded value as far as financial year 2016 is concerned. This is again a slide from the SBI life insurance report. So this is how the market consistent embedded value is derived. So this is more of a graphical representation of what we discussed in the last few slides. Here I have given or have tried to give a comparative study of SBI life insurance embedded value versus the HDFC life embedded value. So almost the CAGR return for both of the companies has been around 20-21%. If you see the embedded value for SBI Life, it is around 333 billion compared to almost 226 billion for HDFC Life. So whatever curve HDFC Life has given is in crores, as you can see here, unlike billion. So crore again divided by 100 will give you billion. So it is 226 billion as of 2021 in HDFC compared to 333.86 billion in case of SBI. So you can see SBI embedded value is almost 25% more than HDFC Life. So again you can derive the price to embedded value instead of price to book value and measure the relative valuation of both companies and undervaluation of both the companies in a comparative study and take your investment decision. Now, other commonly used measurables for life insurance company is the gross return premium. So gross return premium is the total policy premium received during that year by the company. Sum of new business premium, that is the first policy payment, and the renewal premium is included in this. So first policy premium is the first year amount whatever you are paying for the insurance business, and renewal premium is yearly or whatever schemes you are having based on which the renewal of the insurance is done. So that is renewal premium. Gross return premium is one parameter to look at how the insurance business is growing. Net business premium is nothing but the gross premium minus the expenses. That is simple. Now annualized premium equivalent, APE, is one of the important parameter in life insurance company. So that is sum of regular annual payment plus 10% of single premium. So single premium is nothing but some premiums are paid one time which is effective for several years. So that may be happening only once. So 10% of that single premium is taken and rest sum of regular annual payments, which is the policy renewal premium the policy holder is paying yearly. So those two things are added up, that is nothing but the annualized premium equivalent. And the value of new business is the value of all future profits which are expected to flow to shareholders with respect to new policies written during the year. That is the value of new business. Value of new business margin is this VNB divided by APE. Again, simple equation. Embedded value already we discussed, present value of future profits plus the net asset value of the company. Now other parameters to measure is asset under management, simply which is AUM, is the carrying value of all the investments of the life insurance company. Next is persistence ratio, which is the percentage of policies that have not lapsed. That is basically the ratio of life insurance policies remaining in force to all the policies issued in a fixed period. So that is the non-lapsed insurance policies to the policies issued. And claim settlement ratio is the total number of claims paid out against the number of claims filed by the policyholder of the company. So again, this is important factor. as far as the business development of the company is concerned, because if the claim settlement ratio is less, that means that the company is unable to settle all the claims, or it should be a very high value, possibly above 98-99%, so that the new policy holders will be impressed by the performance of the company, that is the claim settlement, and they will keep on buying new policies so that the business is continued and they get good premium collection as well, which is again affecting the business or the life insurance business. Solvency ratio is the amount of available solvency margin, which is AMS, to the amount of required solvency margin. This actually measures how financially sound an insurer is and ability to pay claims over a period. Because if they don't have a reserve, they, in case of a claim, they will not be able to do the claim and they may go bankrupt. So again, solvency or liquidity of the company is measured from the solvency ratio. So again, for coming back to SBI Life Insurance, the asset under management is mentioned in billions from 2017 to 2021. So again, asset under management has been increasing steadily, you can see. So the blue color is equity and this violet color is debt, you can see. So asset under management has been increasing. So asset under management is the investment or invested quantity in stocks and debt. So you can always see that the earlier periods the debt has been higher. Now here also that is still higher, or the bonds or securities or investment in, so the investments in those are still higher, but equity percentage has also increased in 2021. You can see it has always it has almost been double of what is there in 2020. So that is again a good sign of AUM growth. Again, you can see the debt to equity ratio here, means debt instruments, the investments is 750 minus 226 in 2017. Similarly, in 2021, the investments in debt instruments are 1600 minus 600 crore. That is around 1000 crore is in debt instruments and rest is in equity, that is stocks. So actually, as per IRDA norms, which we have discussed in our earlier session on insurance companies, they restrict the investments of various securities or stocks or bonds by an insurance company by rule. So I have just extracted the data for a life insurance company and what IRDA imposes the insurance companies to follow. So similarly for other insurance businesses also, vehicle insurance, other businesses, also property insurances, they are imposing various investment mixes. Under life insurance, you can see the government securities percentage is 25%, and inclusive of other securities and bonds, maximum it should be, or it should not be less than 50%. So you can see the bonds percentages cannot fall below 50%. Bond as in the debt instruments. So that is why in the this slide also you can see the bond percentage is always higher than the stock investments. And also the other investments like infrastructure and social sector will not be or should not be less than 15%. So minimum it should be 15%. So that accounts to 65%. So the rest 35% will be in others governed by exposure or prudential norms specified in regulation A. So there is another regulation mentioned, and other approved investments to be governed by exposure. So there is regulations under this IRDA norm. So you can go to IRDA website and see that norms. But basically this 35% goes to stock investments. So that is how the mixture of debt to equity is defined by the IRDA. So the investment mixes in various countries is different. So like if you see in Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, their investment in stock compared to bonds are much higher. So also the risk would be higher, but if you invest correctly, your returns also would be much higher. So again, getting back to SBI Life Insurance's asset under management, you can see the growth. So I have just mentioned here the debt percentage and the equity percentage. So here in 2017 it was 30% around, again 30%, again in 19 30%. In 20 there has been a decrease, probably there was this COVID pandemic issues. So maybe they reduce their exposure to stocks and increase their investment in the bonds or securities which are more safer in a turbid which are more safer in a turbulent market. Now in 2021 again you can see they have increased much above the last year, which is 37% equity. That is even the highest one compared to all other years. So maybe they got a good dip in the market and they entered into various stock investments at a attractive valuations. So I expect in the coming years probably that correct time investments would fetch the stakeholders good profits from the so-called float. So again, if you see the equity, 37.56% is a good amount. So again, in Berkshire Hathaway, I told that they have much higher equity percentage, which ensures them a good stream of investment returns from that equity. Because the interest from the debt instruments are always capped, so it cannot be multifold returns, but still it will ensure a steady stream of returns. Now to give you an example, I have a comparative example. I have given the tabulations of both SBI life insurance on left hand side and HDFC life on the right hand side as far as the asset under management is considered. So here it is in billions. Note that here in SBI it is in billions and in HDFC it is in crore. Both the things both the charts I have extracted from the annual reports of respective companies. So again, there is a 17% CAGR increase in asset under management for HDFC Life compared to almost 23% in case of SBI Life. So the percentage increase of asset under management has been higher in case of SBI, but I would say it is almost the same 3% difference. And debt to equity mixture already we discussed in the last slide for SBI Life. Here in HDFC, the mixture is 64 to 36. So again, almost similar to what SBI is currently offering. So it seems that all the insurance companies have invested heavily in stock market in the last year where there was a dip, or at least in this year starting, so that they entered the market at a good valuation as far as the stocks are concerned, and probably they fetch good returns in future. So in case of HDFC Life, the asset under management in 2021 is around 1700 billion, and in case of SBI Life is 1600 billion. So HDFC is having a higher asset under management compared to SBI Life Insurance, but still this value is good and holds good for SBI. Market leadership of SBI is shown here. So the total market is shown here. This is the total percentage of private market, and out of which SBI Life Insurance market leadership percentage is shown here, 5.8 against the total 20% in private market. So private market is as in LIC of India is not included in this because it's a government owned business as of now. Now the IPO is going to be coming, so you can expect some amount of privatization in that company as well. Now individual rated premium market share, again you can see SBI holds good amount in that against the total private market share. New business premium NBP. the insurance premium that is due in the first policy year of the life insurance contract or a single lump sum payment from the policyholder. So again, that is increasing year on year from 2017 to 2021. It is shown here again in billions. New business annualized premium equivalent, again APE we discussed. So that also is increasing over the years. Good growth. Renewal premium, life insurance premium falling due after the first year of policy. So that also is step by step increasing year on year. Individual rated premium, the premium written under individual products and weighted at 10% for single premium. So that also you can see there has been a steady growth. Individual annualized premium equivalent, APE. See the growth here. Value of new business, VONB. Again we discussed VONB, or you can call it simply VNB, and VNB margin. We explained what it is in the previous slides. So that also is increasing year on year. See, violet color is VNB margin and this blue color is VNB. All steadily growing from 2017 on to 2021. Gross written premium, GWP, that is nothing but the total premium written by the company before deduction of the reinsurance ceded. So that also is increasing year on year. So this color is single premium and this is first year premium and this is the renewal premium. So all is mentioned in billions, again steadily increasing. Quality of business, again we discussed the persistency ratio. So that is the ratio of life insurance policies remaining in force to all policies issued in fixed period. So that also has been steady, if not growing. And this is in 13th month and this is in 31st month. It has been showing the values. Solvency ratio, actually it is required to maintain a minimum ratio of 1.5. So you can see it is all about 2. Here in 2020 there has been a slight fall, but still overall it has maintained a healthy solvency ratio. Unfair business practice ratio is another ratio. So that is the number of grievances with respect to unfair business practices reported to the company divided by the policies issued in the same period. So it should actually fall, which shows the quality or the way by which they are dealing with the policy holders. It is improving. So it has been improving only. So you also know that SBI Bank as in is a PSU, but or government based organization. But if you see SBI Life Insurance having partnership with BNP Paribas is actually private oriented, and you can see good quality business being done in that. I'm not telling that the government based organizations are not good, but if you have private players in the business, like what government has been doing or trying to do, the de-investment in various companies, which will actually improve the effectiveness of doing business and profitability of the business. So that you can clearly see in SBI Life Insurance Company. Cost ratios, this is the OPEX ratio, commission ratio. So commission ratio and all has been dropping, which shows that the expenses for the company is going down, which will again boost the profitability of the company. So again in 2021, they have mentioned that top 3 states contributed less than 30% of the total NBP. Increase in distribution or partners, agents, they have increased this much, SPs and brokers. And reduced total cost ratio to 8.3 from 9.9 in 2020. So that is a good one. Reduced commission ratio also, they have reduced 0.5% in commission ratio. OPEX ratio also they have reduced. So improved persistency ratio also. So new policies added is 1.66 million. Again a good figure. So clearly you can see that the company is in its growth path and is performing very well. So concluding, considering all these parameters, SBI Life Insurance is a really good business to look at. Nowadays market is at all-time high. You can expect a slight correction in the market, but I would say don't wait for such corrections to happen to get into such quality businesses. Current market price of SBI Life Insurance I think is around 1200 rupees per share. So you should not look at the price like Warren Buffett told. You should first analyze the company, understand the price or understand the value of the business, not the price, and compare the value of that business or the intrinsic value of that business to then the price available in the market. So if you find that intrinsic value or the ability of the business to generate profit over a longer term or in the upcoming years is very strong and it ensures a really strong cash flow, then if the market price is much high also, don't care about that. If it is having a discount to your original computed intrinsic value, then go ahead and buy the stock. So as per me, SBI Life Insurance having 1200 rupees, don't consider the price of HDFC Life or ICICI Prudential to this, because if you see price wise the value may be higher here, but what piece of business you get for that 1200 rupee per share is something you should look at. So as per me, it's a good buy. This is not actually a stock recommendation. I have been trying to do a business analysis of that insurance company, and you can put this company on your watch list or on your radar, and you can have your own analysis and see how the company is performing. And if you are really convinced on the performance or the futuristic business of this company, you can go buy the stock. So till then, happy investing.